Welcome to this lecture series of Principle of Electrical Engineering. We are discussing transformer. In today's lecture, we will see the definition of a transformer and then we will see the basic principle of operation of the transformer. So starting with the definition of the transformer, as I already told you, the transformer is a static electrical machine. So if you consider transformer as an electrical machine, you can say that transformer is basically an electrical machine which transfer energy from one side to another. This is the input side, this is the output side. In every machine we have certain input and we have certain output. Similarly, in case of transformer, it is an electrical machine in which the power is transferred from input side to the output side. And it's important to note that in this machine there is no conversion of power, that is, the power remains in electrical form, that is, the input power is in electrical form and the output power is also in electrical form. Unlike motors, where we have input power in electrical form and the output power is in mechanical form. Similarly, unlike generators, where we have input power in mechanical form and the output is in electrical form. So if you look at generators and motors, you will find that in generators and motors there is a conversion of power in one form to another, whereas in case of transformer there is no conversion of power in the form. Okay, so whatever we have, we always use electrical power as the input, and at the output we will get again the electrical power. So you can write that a transformer is a static electrical machine which transfers power from one end to another, that is from primary. Usually at the input side we call it primary and the output side we call it secondary side. So the power transfer takes place from primary, secondary without changing its form, that is, without changing its electrical form. Another important point about a transformer is that the transformer, the frequency of the voltage remains constant. Whatever the frequency of the voltage we are having at the input, the same frequency of the voltage we will get at the output. It means in a transformer there is no change in the frequency, whereas if you look at the rotating machines, you will find that the frequency changes. Now the question arises, what basically constitutes a transformer? So as I told you earlier, that in a transformer we have two electric circuits that are linked together by a magnetic circuit. So then how the power transfer takes place? As you know that we can transfer the power, that is, power is basically voltage into current, and if we somehow able to induce the voltage in the other circuit, and if we complete this circuit by the load, then you will find that current starts flowing in this circuit. If we have voltage over here, then we start getting a power over here. It means the transfer of power will take place. But the thing is that how does the voltage get induced in this conductor? This concept you already know that. If we connect both the circuit through a magnetic core and we somehow changes the amplitude of the voltage, then the flux induced in this limb varies. If the same flux linked with this coil, that is with the other circuit, then this varying flux will induce the voltage in this circuit. And once we get the induced voltage over here, and if we connect the load, then the current starts flowing in this circuit. It means we start getting the power, that is V into I. We have input power over here and we have output power over here. So in this way we can transfer power from one circuit to another. Symbolically, transformer is represented like this. We have two coils. This is primary circuit, primary coil. This is secondary circuit, secondary coil. And if we consider ear core, then there is no need of representing anything over here. If we want to represent this very transformer, that is iron core transformer or core made up of any material, then we will demark that core by the parallel lines. These parallel lines basically shows there is a material core in the transformer. So this is the symbolical representation, symbol of the transformer. So right now what we know is, we know the definition of the transformer. It is a static electrical machine which transfers power from one end to another without changing the form of the power. Number 2, we know the symbolical representation, transformer. Now we will see how the induced voltage plays the important role in the transformer. So we know that Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction plays an important role in order to induce the voltage in the coil of the transformer. So now we will discuss that principle of operation of the transformer. So now we will try to understand what is basically happening inside the transformer. Now we will try to understand the phenomena taking place inside the transformer, which is basically responsible for the induced voltage in the secondary circuit. We know that the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction plays an important role for this purpose. As you know that transformer is a static device working on the principle of Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, and it says that the voltage appears across the terminal of an electric coil when the flux linkage associated with the same changes, then the EMF is induced across that terminal. So we know that the EMF, that is the induced EMF, is proportional to the rate of change of flux linkage. So this represents flux linkage, that is the flux associated with the coil, and d flux linkage by dt is basically representing the rate of change of flux. This is nothing but the induced EMF by dt. And if the same coil is having n number of turns, then the flux associated with each coil, that is each turn of the coil, will be equals to n times the flux linkage with the single coil. Let us suppose that if coil is having n turns, then total flux linkage will be n times 5. It means total induced EMF in the coil is equals to pi dt and dt. So this is the induced EMF due to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. It is the induced EMF in the secondary coil. This induced EMF is due to the presence of flux in the core. The flux present in the core, and when this flux link the coil, and this coil is having n number of turns, then induced EMF in each turn is given by this, and the induced EMF in n turns is given by this. So from this expression, we can observe that the change in flux linkage is responsible for the development of an induced EMF. So if we somehow able to maintain the change in flux linkage, then we will easily get the induced EMF at the terminal of the other circuit. So this change in flux linkage can be obtained by various means. One of the ways, either we have a stationary coil, but the flux linkage, that is the flux that is flowing in the core, is varying with time, that is changing with time. If the flux is varying with time, then the flux linkage with the coil changes, that is, we can easily get the rate of change of flux linkage, and due to this we can have an induced EMF at the terminal. Another way of obtaining change in flux linkage is, let us suppose that the flux lines are constant, that is, there is no change in flux over here, but if we somehow manage to move the coil instead of changing the flux, if we somehow move the coil, then the flux linkage with the coil changes with time. Again, we will obtain the rate of change of flux linkage. Due to this, we will obtain the induced EMF at the terminal of the secondary, that is the secondary winding. The third way of obtaining the rate of change of flux linkage is, if we somehow able to change the flux linkage as well as we somehow able to move the coil. In this condition also, we can easily get the rate of change of flux linkage, and so we can have an induced EMF at the secondary winding. So let us summarize these points. So you can find that the change in flux linkage can be made in the following three ways. If the coil is static and unmoving, and if we somehow change the flux with time, then the flux linkage with the coil changes. So in this case also, we will have rate of change of flux linkage. This implies that EMF is induced in the coil. In the second case, here the flux is constant but the coil is moving. Again, we have a flux rate of change of flux. The third case, we changes the both, the flux linkage, the flux changes with time as well as the coil is moving. In this case also, we can easily get the rate of change of flux linkage. It means that the EMF will get induced in the secondary coil. So these are the three ways we can obtain an EMF induced in the secondary coil. So this is basically the principle behind the operation of the transformer. So as you know that in a transformer we have primary coil and we have secondary coil. It's the two circuits, electrical circuits, that are linked together through a core, magnetic core. But the thing is that in the transformer, the coil is not moving, so this condition cannot be applied. Similarly, the third condition is also not applicable over here. By using the first condition, we can only have the induced EMF in the transformer because both the coils are stationary. So it means that what we need to do is we need to have a varying magnetic flux in the core, and this can be obtained if we have a varying supply, that is, if we have an alternating supply that is continuously changing with time, then the flux induced is also changing with time. If the flux changes with time, then the flux linkage changes with time, then the flux linkage also changes with time. So if the flux linkage changes with time, we can easily have the induced EMF. So this is basically the phenomena behind the operation of the transformer. I hope you all understand it. Now we will try to discuss the construction of the transformer. This we will discuss in the next class. This is all about today's lecture.